Welcome back, ladies and gents. Here we are, starting the next episode right where we left off. Looks like South Korea wants some rubber. Peru wants some rubber. Everybody wants rubber. We'll just give you rubber. Who is the number one top exporters of Malaysia and the United States? Now, which is to be expected because Malaysia has all of these rubber plantations. They are by far the best. That location is really the only place in the entire world on this map that has that concentration of naturally occurring rubber. You can see here that Malaysia produces 19,887 tons and only need 815. So they can trade a lot today, whereas we only produce 14 and we use 13. Nano antitoxins. But you can see by far between the two of us, the very next, Malaysia produces 20,000, we produce 14,000, and the third one is only 2,600. So you can see it's a huge difference. Algeria has declared war on South Sudan. All right, let's filter this differently. Let's filter this by consumers and producers. Here we go. China, number one producers, Malaysia, and then the United States. China must be producing it based on synthetic production. Because as you can see, there's not a whole lot of rubber production in China. This area right here, which they still own, and that's it. And Vietnam has gotten all. Oh, I forgot about the island. Is this Hainan? I think this is called Hainan. That's what I know it by, at least, but that could be from the past. May not be called that today. Like this used to be called Formosa. Okay. Rubber, no. Petroleum, metal ore, and military goods. Yeah, we're going to accept all of that. We're going to pay off another bond. We're definitely on a roll now. All we need is butter. All right, what about this? I really wish countries that are not at war would reserve their forces. Of course, I haven't played very much of 2030, SR 2030. I just cannot get into that game. And I'll tell you why. The number one reason I cannot get into that game was the very first time I tried to play it. I won't say the first time. United Kingdom, Third World, and Ireland. Well, that's not going to go well for Ireland. But the last time I tried to play 2030 is I had a fleet, and I moved some carriers. I had a carrier strike group. I moved them down here to Africa. And the aircraft on the carrier tried to fly back to the United States without me giving them any direction whatsoever. And for me, if I can't use carriers and air power, it's useless. It's a useless game to me. I'm not going to play. So that's why I don't really play 2030, because I see all the issues that have with aircraft and carriers and range and fuel. It's annoying to me, so I cannot abide by that. And I know that they're making, changes and progress all the time, but it's just not for me yet. Looks like things have slowed. Well, I think there comes Indonesia again with yeah. That's actually Malaysia. Malaysia at war with China, right? Yeah. Again, we got Taiwan holding firm against Japan. I'm not exactly sure what South Korea is doing with this large gathering of naval forces here. Laser defensive upgrade. We're going to upgrade defense 2. Now we're getting some. I do not want the Crow. I do not want the LAV 5A. It's arguably useful because, see, the Dunham is not amphibious, but the Lav is. But that's okay. We're going to get some better units here soon. Yeah, the Taiwanese Air Force is doing a number on the Japanese Navy. But they're got to be in such a deficit. Yeah, they are. Losing money on a daily basis. South Africa and Liberia. Well, see, that would be unfortunate for me if this was a normal game of mine, because I'd always try to be on good relations with Liberia. It always amazes me how I've mentioned many times now that South Africa always goes on a rampage, but the countries they choose to go on a rampage against and the ones they choose to ignore baffles me at times. How's Kurdistan doing, by the way? Oh, they've opened up that supply corridor again. I really don't know how I feel about this. I sort of want Turkey to win, but I think it's just because historically Turkey is a NATO member, even though in this game they're not. And, you know, we got air bases in Turkey. I'll give these all. My hope is one day the Supreme Ruler Series evolves to the point where you can actually build bases in foreign countries and you actually own that territory and you can build there, you can repair there, because that's just the way it really is. Custom electronic implants. I guarantee you when aircraft land, U.S. Air Force aircraft land in there or Germany, they don't have to then ship them back to the United States to repair them. they repair them right there in our own facilities on our own air bases. And I know that Mr. Latour's points out that it's not actually repairing them, you're replenishing them. And I've already answered that, where even in World War II, you could rest forces to replenish their numbers without having to send them all the way back to the United States. I don't know why we can't do it today. All right, Turkey, you've cut them off again. Can you keep that? If Turkey can take this town right here, that will totally. That's the only town producing supply for Kurdistan in this entire area. Russia on Iran. Well, that's okay. I'd like to see them two fight. Again, I think Russia's going to win that, but they're fighting so many people. Turkey, you just need this village. If you can get Bolu, and sorry, Turkish guys, that's the way I see that as Bolu. Indonesia declared war on East Timor. Oh, Kurdistan opened it back up. Algeria on South Africa. Yes, I'll give you or buy your petroleum. Let's look at what we have here. Everything's still operating properly. Turkey, come on. Take this one town and you'll have cut this entire area off. Somebody just found a spy. Oh, countdown to election. 84 days. We're at 33. That's good. That's enough to win the election. I can't believe Israel's still going. They've had an election, though. Goldstein. Vafa Goldstein is now the leader. So they got rid of Netanyahu. There goes Turkmenistan. Autonomous unmanned vehicles. We're going to throw in nanobiology. Indonesia on Kyrgyzstan. Look at there. They're still surging. Malaysia is just determined. Look at them. Where are they going now? I think they've given up on this area. Where are they going now? Are they going to go here? Same place Indonesia tried to land. I think that is where they're going. But the problem is Malaysia has it. But, I mean, they have it. But what I'm getting at is that these, let me just read this. Leap infantry. These garrisons are really going to take a toll on them because they're landing in 1s and 2s. There goes East Timor. Yeah, see, this it's just too strong. They've got to put 20, 30 units in there. South Korea on Japan. Well, again, this is not ideal, but what are you going to do? Man, they're just wearing down this port facility. It's going to be no good here in a little while. They might actually destroy it if they keep fighting over it. Yeah, I'll take that metal ore and I'll give you your rubber. Chameleon armor. Very good, very good. We're going to throw in both of these. See if that opened up any tanks. That opened up the Kemet, which is 61 and 82, which is a huge improvement over what we have. But I'm not going to build them unless I have to, because, again, I want those phaser tanks. Uh-oh, Russia's surging. Where are they headed to? Iran. Italy on Malta. This place just, this time frame just devolves. With the U.S. being passive, people just go haywire. Why are these Turkish units here? Interesting. Turkey, you should move all your forces back. Who are you at war with besides Kurdistan? Russia. They must be trying to intercept Russian naval units coming through the strait, the channel here. That's what the deal is, in my opinion. That's what I think is going on. Although they would probably be better served putting some forces here because there's a lot of Russian naval forces probably coming through here. All right, let's look at Peru, rubber, timber. You know, I'm just going to accept everything. There went Malta. Let's pay off another bond. Boom. We've only got one more bond left. Only been 7 years. And we've still modernized the nation. Problem is, 29%. It's getting close. Advanced Facility Defense. That just popped up out of nowhere when I'm on pause. I don't think there's anything that I want to add. As soon as I pay off that last bond, though, I'm going to put in all that medical stuff because money's not going to be an issue. I'm probably going to start changing our taxes and prices around again also. Iran. Thwarted Russia's push, and they're pushing back. You know, I don't want to talk too much about real-world politics and stuff like that, but historically, Persia has a whole lot of... There's a lot of history, a lot of great history there. And things that go on in the world these days, you know, we're still only the only place ever that there's human life on this one planet. I'll just leave it at that. There's a lot of good history here, a lot of things that needs to be preserved and you know, allow people to access, so forth and so on. I know I'll never live long enough to see a united Earth where we consider ourselves just humans. But that's a goal I hope we accomplish one day as a species of people. I guess Mexico, after taking Belize, they've kind of settled down. You see they're moving units around, but I don't know what for. China's declared war on Papua New Guinea. You've done that before, or Russia. One of you have, and it didn't go anywhere. And actually looks like Venezuela is pushing into Brazil here. If they can get down here to this one large city, Manas, that's the only crossing in this game across this river. It's also a good supply point. And I can remember in earlier versions of this game there was no crossing here. And BG finally went in and put a bridge there. Yep, Slovenia, you can have some rubber. I don't think anybody's going to get the upper hand between Brazil and Argentina, though. Future mechanized infantry. There you go. Future military designs. We definitely want that. This opened up a lot. That XAV I was talking about earlier, as well as this M18. The reason I don't like this unit, there goes Vietnam. South Korea declaring Armenia. Well, that's unfortunate. Also, you're never going to get there, so why declare war on them? But this unit here, the reason I don't like it, it's got decent stats, but I don't like any unit that has such a high personnel count. Again, it's amphibious, and the Dunham is not. But I just don't like. See, the Dunham has 486. The XAU has 486. The LAV Mu has 648, and the M118A4 has 648. I just don't like using that many units in each brigade. I prefer the smaller versions because you can field more units that way. And they're good. Look at the stats on this. You can see what I'm building right now, the Dunham, is 3840, 3231. 3840, 3231. And this is 48, 54, 40, and 44. So you can see it's so much better. So much better. And it's amphibious and airdroppable. Do I still got on filters for commodity? What? Rubber. There we go. Uh-oh, Japan. I was starting to say Japan is moving up here, but I don't understand why Japan, being at war with Taiwan, is not taking this area right here. Iran has declared war on Kurdistan. Iran, don't you got your hands full with Russia? Yeah, look how close they are down to Tehran. Advanced Tank Designs 2. What does that lead us to? Laser cannons, baby. We're getting there. Still just looking around at what's going on the map. Well, they're holding on to Mashhad. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep it. We'll see. Time will tell. I think Turkey's pushed this area back up to Bolu. But they still haven't been able to actually take Bolu. India, timber. All right, this is all acceptable to me. I'm going to pay off our last. This was the stated purpose of this game, was for me to pay off the U.S.A. debt, improve the conditions in our country, and modernize our military. There we go. We have no more interest. So we've saved ourselves $954 million a day. Our people still like us. They're still going to vote us in at the next election. I've still modernized everything in the nation, from technology to military units. We're more lethal as a nation. We've gotten rid of all our older stuff. We're upgrading the Navy. and the world's gone to heck in a handbasket. But that was my stated goal for this game. That was it. I didn't want to really accomplish anything else. I just wanted to show. Over the years, I think this game, see, election victory, I just won that. I think this game came out in 2014, if memory serves. Israel on Iraq. And over the years, I've heard people say that it's just they like to play with the, well, I haven't heard people say, I've read people type that they prefer to play the game with national debts off. And there are some games where I do that also because I'm trying to help the AI, and the AI is never going to pay off the national debt. They just continuously go into debt. So there are some games where I will start with the AI debt off, or the debt off. And yes, that inadvertently helps me, but as you can see, I can pay off my debt anyway and still do everything that needs to be done. Because I would typically play the USA, Russia, China, Japan, the UK, and then in some instances in the past, you've seen me play small countries like Jamaica, things of that nature. But I derive the greatest pleasure in overcoming obstacles, like paying off the debt, advanced naval weapons. Did this open up any new? There's the carrier, the Sea Warrior. Now, both of these are LHAs is what I call them. They're short deck carriers of what they're called in the game, but this one is 118 and this one is 131. So we're going to go with the Carlisle. Notice here, they can both hold 2. They both have anti-sub capability, 130 at 11. This is 365 at 11. See how much better it is? It has 285 air defense, and the Sea Warrior only has 250. This has 1,800 cargo capacity. This one has 2,400. So in every instance, the Carlisle is better. So we'll get rid of that. This here is an updated version that actually has, this is the first carrier after your starting carriers that actually has 5 squadrons that it'll hold. And when you compare it to the Ford, you can see here 250 anti-aircraft. And this one, 280. So it is better, holds the same amount of aircraft. 25, 154, 50, and 20. 25, 154, 50, and 20. 20 instead of 25. 159 instead of 154. That's only a difference of 4 or 5. The Ford has no anti-sub, no precision spotting. So this is 74 kilometers, 280 and 145. 74 kilometers, 280 at 145. This is 167 kilometers. Instead of 280 and 145, it's 314 and 184. So it's just better all around. So we're going to throw both of these in to be researched. Let's see if any capital ships. The Potomac is this is really and truly what's going to replace the Zumwalt and some other ships. It has a 65. The Zumwalt has 90 stealth rating, as you can see here, but some of the other stats are not quite as good as the CG90, and the CG90 does have very good stats, and 515 versus I think 300 something with the Zumwalt anti-air. And when you start getting in the late game, it's all about anti-air because you have to invade some coastlines, and you can see how effective the Taiwanese Air Force is at clearing the coastal areas of Japanese Navy. And imagine if you had to land in Taiwan as an opposed landing, and you're all about wanting that air protection is what I'm getting at. So I do build these also. And I don't think that once we get these frigates and these DDs here, which are destroyers, they have one of these, this Western Sea. Notice it has 530, 480, 328, 325, and 315. So that Western Sea is the best ship for anti-air. It only has 10 combat time, but if you put them in a supplied area or with supply ships, and they can see out to 134, it's very, very effective at knocking the aircraft out of the sky. These others, the Connery has only got 6. Now, this one has 80, but it's such a low anti-air. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. That's the problem when you move up to these more modern vessels. They do have less people on them. And you can see much smaller amount of people on them than the traditional destroyer, so forth and so on. And they're cheaper, supposedly, to operate. But the range, they also have limited combat time. 80 to 60 is a huge difference. By more, huge factors. But at any rate, I don't really mess with patrol ships. Don't really care for them because you got these. All of these right here can fulfill the roles of patrol ships, like the LCS ships are doing now. The littoral combat ships, the Freedom, for example. They carry missiles. They have good range. They have good anti-sub capability. 632 at 100 kilometers. So this is the type of Navy that the U.S.A. will evolve to in my games. We're just going to accept all of this. I'm also going to go back and change all of these, unlock all of these prices, and let the AI do what it feels is necessary. We're going to go back to these taxation. I'm going to change sales tax. I'm really going to hurt myself here in the short term. Our national sales tax is going to be 10%. Across the board, 10%. Everybody pays 10%. Let's see. Our income is 31,908. Germany declared on Slovenia, 31,908. We've gone up 50 million. We dropped. See, in the short term, this will hurt. But in the long term, this will help. It'll try to equalize here. You can see our DAR is going to go up substantially. It could go up into the high 30s or even the 40s, low 40s. Slovenia's gone. That's a shame. Sorry, Melania. Well, I've done the first part, was pay off all our debt. Now I'm definitely working on this right here will lead to improving the situations in the country greatly. We'll get our people back working. We'll go back down to 5 unemployment or less. Not too much less. But we'll get our people back to work. We'll start generating more income from taxes, even though I've lowered the sales tax. We're going to start generating less income from world market sales because our people are able to buy more product with the money they have. We're going to start relying on the income tax. And the only thing that I would normally do that I haven't done at all in this game is go through, like I mentioned, and deleting all of these areas that have just atrocious supply and consolidating the supply in areas that are really good. Normally I would do that, and I think I showed it slightly when I was working on the coal, but normally I'll do that for every industry on the map, both resource collectors and production. Advanced chameleon armor. That gave us something. Don't know right now. All right, well, that's going to conclude this session for certain. Perhaps this entire series, because I have met my stated goals. Really, it was in 7 years. I paid off the debt, advanced the military, so forth and so on. I do believe this will be the end of this. I may start when I come back from, like I said, I'm going to be gone for 3 to 6 weeks, ideally, the shorter time rather than the latter. But when I come back, I may consider starting a game as China. I've been thinking about that. And I've also read a lot of complaints about China not being able to pay off their debt and afford what they're doing. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the same thing with China. that I did with the USA if I decide to play China. And again, it's going to be the same type of game where I'm just trying to balance everything, get China in a good position to exist in the world. And that's if I decide to do that. And again, that'll be anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks from now, based on any comments that I get on this video. Ciao.